Jodie Comer, I talked to you last June, and you said that you'd received a call a couple of days beforehand, and you had a project that you're really excited about. So, was that for Killing Eve?
No, it wasn't actually. Well, I don't think it was anyway. Killing Eve I only got the call about Killing Eve this summer, so it definitely wasn't Killing Eve. But now I'm trying to rack my brains to figure out what that was. What did they do after the White Princess? I can't remember. It wasn't this anyway.
All right. You said you couldn't talk about it then, and I guess we will never find out.
Yeah. That sounds like I was telling fibs. I'm gonna actually have to look at what that was.
All right. So, on this show, tell me about how you speak so many languages.
Yeah, well, I had an amazing voice coach called Paula Jack, who was a lovely lady who made sure I was doing them all right. I wasn't actually aware of how many languages Villanelle spoke before we started, but I knew that she did. So it was always interesting getting a new script and realizing what language you need to learn. But it was a big challenge. I don't speak any other languages, so it was definitely a challenge. But it was great. Say, for instance, when we shot in Tuscany and she had to speak Italian, I had a whole Italian crew there who could help me. So it was tricky, but it was definitely one of the most rewarding parts of playing her.
Okay, and how would you define your main accent and what goes into that one?
I think the tricky thing was with Villanelle was that she is born in Russia, but she hasn't lived in Russia for the majority of her life. She she lives in France, but then she travels around a lot. So when I spoke to the producers and Phoebe, they wanted people to not really be able to pinpoint her. She's there's a lot of mystery to her anyway, and I think they wanted to know where she came from, but then for also to have these other influences there, which I thought was quite interesting. And it definitely gets her accent definitely gets stronger towards the end of the series when she goes back to a prison in Russia. I think it comes out stronger because I know when I'm at home, like my friends may watch this video and be like, why is she talking posh? Whereas when I go home with my family, my accent gets really strong. So I think that was that was another kind of thing that we did.
Was there anything else about your performance that you changed over the course of the first season as you got more comfortable in Villanelle's skin?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, this may sound terrible for an actress to say, but I think people will relate to this as in like, I feel like for the majority of the first part of the series, I still didn't quite know who she was. And I was still trying to sink into her and find my way with her. So definitely as each episode went on, I felt like I grew to know her more and more. And I found myself, you find yourself naturally going, she wouldn't do that, or actually I feel like she would react in this way. So the whole process was a learning curve. And I think for sure, as the episodes went on, I got more comfortable, and I think Phoebe could see that. So as my natural instincts kind of were showing, Phoebe could then write that more into the episodes. So we got a real sense of her, her sense of humor, and yeah.
What's your interaction with Phoebe Waller-Bridge on set?
Well, Phoebe was on set quite a lot at the start of the series, which was perfect actually, because she knows these characters inside out, and she has a very I just think she's so unique, and she has a very original just direction, and she knew these characters and what she wanted from them. So it was perfect when we were starting off, and you had her there with her instincts and her sometimes you would play a scene and she would say, right now play it the completely opposite way, which sometimes can throw you a little bit. But actually, if there's anything I've learned from Phoebe is to not be scared to do something and it not be right, even if it seems outrageous, or try it. And if you fall flat on your face, then fine. But you can really make something quite magical by daring to do something and to try something.
Her shows have a unique voice, but how does that come across on the page, like in the scripts that you receive?
It really does. I mean, when I got episode 1, when I had my my email through about doing the first audition, it may be in the stage directions, or it may be that the character gives a certain look, or because I think as well there is so much in this series that isn't what people say. It's it's all the little bits in between, which Phoebe is, it is all there on the page. And I just remember reading it and thinking it was so refreshing, and I laughed. It's not often that you sometimes you read the script and you may laugh on the inside, but I loved it. I thought it was really funny, but then also really dark in the right places.
Now, as an actress, do you find that you're rooting for your character because how else can you play her, or are you always keeping in the back of your mind that like this is an evil woman?
No, I'm always rooting for her. I think you have to. I think with whatever character you play, you have to, you're on their side. Ultimately, you have to be. I think anyway. It was just impossible not to be, because it was so much fun playing her. I think the one time that I had in the series where I was like, Villanelle, was when she killed Bill, and I was like, and that's a spoiler, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but I said it. Yeah, I remember when seeing that played back after we'd finished filming, and I was like, whoa, that was not very nice. But then after that, I was like, got over that pretty quickly. But no, she can be awful, but then as an actress, to play her, it was just so much fun. So I do find myself excusing her a lot.
A lot of the time in fiction, these killers have a code. Do you think that Eve has one, and what is it?
Eve or Villanelle?
Oh, sorry, yes, Villanelle.
Okay. I was going to say, I don't know. I think she just does what she wants to do. I think she's I don't know whether she has a code. I think she hates rules, and she doesn't live by anything or anyone, influencing her. I think she just lives in the moment and does what she wants to do, regardless of the consequences. And clearly shows very little remorse for it. But no, I don't know whether she does.
Do you think eventually she plans to settle down and work a more normal job, or does she just think that she'll probably die in the next few years?
Normal job, no. I think she thinks she'll never die. I think she sees herself as being invincible. I don't think she'll ever have a normal job. But I do think deep down she craves that normality, and I think that's another reason why she is so intrigued with Eve, is because she has this husband and this home and this life that I think deep down Villanelle really wants, but she obviously doesn't allow herself of that because of the person that she is. So I think in reality she does. And I also think there's a side to her that is Villanelle, and there is a side to her that is Oksana. And I think as the series went on, you saw a little bit more of who she was in her previous life. And I like those prison scenes, she's just so feral to me. And I think that is the Oksana, in her. I think Oksana wants to settle down, but Villanelle wants to just keep on going, doing what she's doing.
Do you think she could be happy with Eve?
I don't know. After episode 8, I think I think that's going to be a big thing for Villanelle to get over. I think, especially in that last scene, Villanelle definitely opens herself up and lets her guard down, and then I don't know. I love spending time with Sandra on set, so if they do, that would be perfect for me.
I find television so crazy these days, where I was watching the show and I thought that Eve actually might get killed by the end of the first season. Obviously, that didn't happen. But how long do you think this can go on where they keep meeting up and not killing each other?
I don't know, but I think I was reading an interview, actually, one of Sandra's recently, and I remember her mentioning this when we were kind of going through the process of the show and just talking about the characters, and she said there's something very interesting in how you you know, the title could be Eve being killed, or it could be Eve doing the killing, depending on how you read it and how you watch the series and take the series. And I think it's really interesting, a really interesting point, considering, you know, where Eve is from the start of the show to where she is when the show finishes on season 1. So I don't know. I mean, I'd love to play Villanelle for forever. So I hope we can carry this on for a long time. But I do think it is definitely something that I'm intrigued about, and I'm excited to see when I get the episodes for the new series out, because I have no idea where they're going to take it next.
Yeah, I guess the title gives Villanelle more or less job security than, you know, Sandra Oh's character.
Yeah, I mean, Eve could kick her off the pedestal and she could take over. I don't know. I can't see Villanelle letting that happen very easily, but we'll see.
So what do you think would have to happen for Villanelle to finally kill Eve?
I don't know. For me, like, Villanelle's favorite person is Villanelle, and I think that the one thing that she values the most out of anything is her own life. And so I think it's quite interesting that, you know, the steps that Eve goes to in the final episode, that's quite significant to Villanelle, I think. What Eve would have to do, I don't know. I don't know if she would. Depends how much she likes her, I guess.
And have you read the novellas?
I did. I actually, well, when I got the audition through, I had like very little time, so I listened to them on audiobook. But it was also great having Luke was on set a lot of the time, which was also lovely, because, you know, it's really interesting because Luke has, you know, he brought this vision to life, and then Phoebe kind of puts her own spin on things, and then once we get to set, it's the actors then who bring their own you know, their own version of it. So it was lovely to have all those people on set and yeah, have everyone's input.
And what's different from the books?
Well, I think once Phoebe had, a lot is different from the books is that, you know, the characters are set up and it sets up the show, but then there are a lot of characters that aren't in the books. There is a lot of storylines that aren't in the books. So I think if people watch the show, they shouldn't expect the books to be exactly the same. But I know I seen actually that Luke is actually writing another novella. I think it may be out, I don't know when it's out, but it's soon, which is exciting. So I'm looking forward to reading that.
Now, when I talked to you last year about The White Princess, the verdict seemed to be that 13 was still the most challenging role of your career. Okay, here we are. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh God. Oh my God, you look like you've grown up so much.
Yeah, I grew up my hair.
Yeah.
So how about now? Is Killing Eve, has that topped it in terms of how difficult it is to play this character?
I think it's funny because I just don't feel like she was difficult at all. I feel like she was a complete joy. I'm not going to sound awful, but she was. I think, you know, because some people say, oh, well, you know, did you take it home with you? Was it quite harrowing because she does do awful things? But it wasn't so much. It was just so much fun. And I think, I guess another part there was a more physicality to this role than I'd done before, which again was learning, because if you're shooting scenes with stunts in, you know, scenes have to be broken up. So then there is the kind of the skill of picking up scenes from different stages and, you know, jumping back into things when you may be in a heightened emotion or, so there was, you know, things like that were new to me, but I wouldn't say difficult now. No. Mm.
So once again, you're doing what seems like a British show, but it airs on BBC America. So how's the dynamic for you making a show once again like that's in Britain but kind of for the States?
Yeah, I think it's I mean, as in terms of filming it, it isn't that much different, but and it's funny because now that the show's out, I mean, I see a lot of on Twitter, I get really lovely messages off people, and I see reviews and stuff, which is amazing. But I don't see the all the buzz of it like I would if it was on, at home. But I think obviously the audience is just so much huger, which is different. But in terms of making the show, there wasn't an awful lot of difference, I would say. Yeah, but it will be going to BBC One later this year. So. Mm-hmm.
Nice. And what's your take on the ratings growth over the season, where you started small, but the audience has just been growing every single week?
Yeah, I think I mean I'm just so pleased, and I think that it's I think nowadays as well a lot is word of mouth, isn't it? People, a lot of things that I watch is because of my friends have told me to watch it, or I feel like that is kind of how the world works now. So the fact that we've created a little fan base, and then they've gone out and spread the word, and it's brought more people in, with each week is great. And I think it's lovely that the audience are clearly rooting for the characters. I think a lot of what you love about a series a lot of the time are the characters involved in it. So I think the fact that people are want to see what's going on and how they're doing is great. Yeah.
And what do you know broadly about Villanelle's journey in the second season?
Absolutely nothing. I really don't. I know that we're due to start filming in a few months' time, so that process should be starting soon of getting scripts through and talking through kind of arcs. But I don't know. I just hope she gets her sass back, I think. I hope she gets rid of that fluffy jacket that awful man gave her when she got out of prison. But no, I'm intrigued. There's a lot of relationships that have changed a lot in series 1, and I'm interested to see how they go forward in season 2.
I think it's good to hear that you're filming in a few months at least, because with Fleabag, Phoebe WallerJenkins' other show, the first season was 2016, season 2 is coming in 2019.
I mean, well, she was writing Killing Eve, bless her. She's a busy bee. Everyone wants Phoebe Waller-Bridge, so yeah, she's got a lot on. But yeah, no, hopefully it will be out soon, and people don't have to wait too long.
Okay, so finally, what do you have in the next few months then?
Filming for Killing Eve. Basically, I'm gonna go on holiday. I'm gonna go to Spain like I did last time. Yeah, so I'm gonna go on holiday, and then when I come back, it's kind of knuckling down on scripts and stuff for season 2.
Okay, great. Well, we'll wait for that then. Thanks very much.
Thank you.